Hi guys, today at Topic we're going to show you how to set up an Elinchrom ELC Pro HD 500 light, and we'll also show you some of the new great functions that's built into it. So let's get started. If you're familiar with Elinchrom lights, the first thing you'll notice on a new series of lights is they changed the user interface at the back. I think they made it more intuitive to use, easier to use. So let's just have a quick look at a couple of the buttons. Up here we have the power button, menu access button, up and down arrows. You can set the power with. Interesting button right there. You can access presets, and that's our modeling lamp functions and options right there. So almost like it used to be. Now to change the setup of the light, we just press the menu access button down here, and we can use the dial to any setting we want to change. Press down on the dial to enter that setting, and then if we want to exit again or just step back in the menu, just press this button here for back, or if we're happy with our setting, we want to exit the menu function, we just press this button here to exit. Really clever and easy to use. Now let's set up channels on this light. So to assign it to a specific channel, I'm going to press down the menu access button, access the Skyport menu options, and dial down to channel. And in here at the moment it's set to channel 1, that's exactly where I want it. It's even so clever that it gives us a little graphic there to show us what the position of the switches should be on our little remote. Awesome. So I'm going to tap on that to assign it, press exit, there we go, firing. Now if we look at the display panel on the new lights, we can see our current power output on here. If we change that, we can see it still steps up in tenths of an f-stop, or full stops if we hit the arrows on the side. But interesting enough, on the side we have a power reading in joules of the flash as well, and right underneath that the equivalent shutter speed that the flash is going to fire at, the speed of the burst. Now these 500s seems to have their highest shutter speed equivalent around this power setting of 3. So that's awesome to use if we want to freeze movement like water splashing or anything else. So now let's look at some of the more advanced features that we have on these lights. I'm going to enter the menu, want to go down to power settings, recycling time, and set that to fast. Exit the menu. Now these lights recycle really quickly, can get up to 20 bursts a second. So let's see how it keeps up with something like the Nikon D4S in full motor drive. I just put the trigger onto a Nikon D4S. I got it in high continuous drive mode. So let's see if the flash can keep up. That's quite impressive. These lights also now feature a new sequence mode that allows us a little bit more creative control in our shoot. We can dedicate up to 20 light units now to be triggered independently and individually every time the trigger is released. This is a great handy feature. Let's see how we can set that up. To set it up in sequence mode, just press menu button, dial all the way down to flash mode, select sequence, sequence setup, and under here, under unit address, we have to assign a unit address to each light in the setup. In this case, this will be light 1. Total units, I'm going to have 2 lights in the setup. Sequence timeout, in here we can just adjust it with the wheel. That's just to tell the light how long it should stay in this mode and wait to be triggered. And there we go. This unit is set up and ready to get triggered. Let's set up another one as well. Now I've just set up a second unit the same way as the first. The only difference is I assigned it a unit address of number 2. So let's have a look. So the first shot should trigger the first light in the front. Now the second shot triggers the one at the back. So that's a great handy feature. Sequence mode. Now these lights also have a stroboscopic mode. With that we can set it up so we have multiple bursts during our exposure. So we're going to flash mode, strobo setup. Frequency will be how quick the light actually fires per second and how many you'll have per second. So I'm just going to dial this down a little bit to 5. Duration, let's make it just 1 second. Now obviously you should use a shutter speed on your camera that's longer than a second, And for this to work really well, you have to shoot in a dark environment so that you can actually see the multiple flash bursts registered during the shot. So let's have a look at that. Set the camera to exposure time of 2 seconds. See if it works. Great. So the new Elinchrom ELC Pro HD 500, easy to set up, awesome to use.